My first wholesale deal, I used a text messaging platform called Smarter Contact,
Mm-hmm.
and I really like it because people reply within seconds. Um,
How recently did you use that? Like, is that still a valid system?
it is, but they've gotten pretty expensive. I'm gonna let you know. Okay,
Mm,
because
mm-hmm.
it's so good. You can have it. I had it automated. It would just send out text messages all day while I was working or whatever, and
Yeah.
then I'd get replies, and most of the replies are "f you," the person let me tell you about my first wholesale deal.
Yeah.
He had inherited a house. He had inherited a tenant that hadn't paid ever in 3 years. And she believed that she owned the house and that she didn't need to pay. And she
Oh.
had not only that, she was renting the front yard to somebody with an RV. And so yeah,
Nice.
she was making money off it, but she didn't feel that she had to pay. So the person
Oh.
that bought the property never even saw the property because she was a squatter. Basically, she would not leave.
Yeah.
We
Wow.
sent her an eviction notice, and she called everybody she could. She got the title person fired, talking about they're scamming me, they're ripping me off. What? You haven't paid rent in 3 years? How? It's not even your house. So
Yeah.
so she the person that bought it was a builder, and so he didn't need to see the inside of the house. The person that was selling it, he inherited the house. He didn't have any money in it, and so he didn't care. He just needed to get rid of this problem. He wanted to get married, and he needed a little money. So the house was worth like 300 grand if you had cleaned it up. It probably only needed 20 or 30 thousand dollars in work, and I got it under contract for 150 grand. Um,
Nice.
the seller would have sold it even cheaper because he just needed to get rid of it. But
Yeah.
I sold it almost immediately for 200. And so like I said, it was my first deal, so I made all the mistakes. They like beat me up on the price over and over and over, but I wouldn't stand for that today. Um,
Yeah.
and so he was really motivated to sell it. He lived in Yakima, and the house was in Spanaway. We're talking about long, like 4 hour drive away. He didn't
Mhm.
want to go there. He didn't want anything to do with it. Um,
Yeah.
and um, the motivation needs to be there, but I wholesale everything now. People that want full price for their properties. I'm going to tell you a secret. I sell them on the MLS. I don't. So I do have a buyer's list. I have a buyer's list of about 8,000 people, but if they want full price for the property, I sell it on the MLS as a wholesaler or as a realtor. Eh,
Mhm.
so I
Mhm.
just did a deal in Texas, and and I got it under contract, and I found a. So I find realtors
You're muted.
oh,
I can't hear you.
okay. So I find realtors in each state to do my dirty work for me. Okay. Now, again, you don't have to do it this way. I'm not really sure. My favorite method of finding contracts is on Facebook. There's so many people like yourself that they find a contract, they don't know what to do with it. And
Uh-huh.
so all they do is just drag the seller through forever. They just have no clue. Let me see if I can record with this again. No, it won't do it. Anyway, okay, so I am recording it still. Anyway, so um, there's so many people that don't know what they're doing. I basically have done 20 deals this year with people that just have a contract. They have no clue what to do with it. And so that's how I find free contracts. But the text messaging is a really good way to find good contracts. So you really want good contracts. You don't want free contracts because the free contracts, you got to make them into a deal instead of like just like so so for example, with a seller,
Mm-hmm.
The very common thing that people do is they send offers. I don't send offers. I ask them what they want, and then I have them sign the contract. Now you're riding the bull, and now they have to hold on. You know what I'm saying? So
Mm-hmm.
they're in the contract, and now it's time to drop the price, to whatever it's actually worth. I don't. I'm not. I can't work miracles. I can only sell it for what it's worth. You know what I'm saying? So
Yeah.
I don't really even care what it's worth. It doesn't affect me how much they get. So most people, they're sending offers, and they're just wasting their time offering 200,000 for a $500,000 house. Nobody's going to take that. They're just wasting their money and their time. If you're sending text messages, and it's two cents per text message, then you're just wasting money. That's why the free stuff is good. But again, the free stuff is hard to deal with, because the free stuff everybody wants too much money for. Okay.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
you don't need to know the repair value unless you want to, but it definitely, helps to know what a flooring costs and what it costs to paint a house. And these are very generic things. The average 1,500 square foot house, you should pay 3 to 5 thousand to paint it. Maybe 5 to 10 thousand to floor it, depending on what kind of flooring you want. So,
Right.
and it depends on the area,
Yeah.
and all kinds of stuff. So you're not going to know all that stuff in the beginning. But what I want you to learn is how to get a contract. That's what matters today. Okay. Once you get a contract, you can worry about selling it. And like I just told you how to do it, you just need to find a realtor to sell it. So, I mean, I also, I can work with you if you get a contract. But the reason that I don't say, "Oh, just find me a contract and then we'll work together," is because you're not going to find the first contract you're going to find. It's going to be overpriced. The seller is going to be not willing to work with you very well, and
Mm-hmm.
and so there's just a lot. It's a numbers game, obviously. It's not the first deal that you find is not necessarily going to be your best deal. Um,
Right.
Now I see a lot of people, all they do is pass around addresses on Facebook. Come buy this property, $68 million. Here's the address. They don't have any paperwork. Expired paperwork. They're using somebody else's paperwork. It doesn't even have their name on it. You need to be using your paperwork. I'll send you the paperwork, and it needs to have your name on it. I don't look at the color of the house unless I have a freaking contract. It doesn't matter what the stairs look like. It doesn't matter what their front yard looks like. It doesn't matter the location. It only matters what they want and what the address is. Okay. You need to make sure that you have a contract signed by the actual seller. I have gotten sellers that are not the owners. You need to be able to look up who owns the house. Okay. It's public data. Okay. Have you heard of PropStream?
Yeah.
PropStream is a good way to start. I don't use PropStream anymore because I know more than the average person. Okay. But you should
Mm-hmm.
use it. It will give you some information. Okay.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
It's not gonna. It's a good way to start. Okay. Again, it depends on your money, how much you want to spend on it, and all that stuff. If you want to do this absolutely free, then you can just do all this on Facebook, and that's what I do. I buy them on Facebook. I sell them on the MLS. I mean, I don't buy them. I don't ever put any money in them. I get them in a contract. I just find somebody and make an agreement with them that they want me to sell it. I put it on the MLS and I sell it for what it's worth. I pay the realtors what they want. I pay the title company. They're the ones that do the title work. I don't care who really owns it, other than I need to make sure I have a contract with the actual owner. Okay. I
Mm-hmm.
found a
Okay.
for sale by. Do you know what a for sale by owner is? I
Yeah.
found a for sale by owner. They were not the owner. They were a scammer, and they had faked the paperwork. So you need to do a little research and make sure that you're not getting scammed. Okay.
Yeah.
But that's very uncommon. What's really common is that people just don't have a contract. Okay. So you need to make sure. So the deal in Texas, there was 11 people that had to sign off after the first two people agreed to sell. We found out that they had a lot of family that owned the house.
Oh, wow.
Yes, 11 people had to sign off all across the country. They're all different kids and grandkids. And
Wow.
so it gets very confusing when you start to deal with some of these deals. Real life kicks in. These people, it would be nice if you call the seller and they own it and then they sell it. It doesn't work like
Right.
that.
Wow.
So, all I just try to make a little spread, like if you're directly with the seller, then you try to make 10 or $20,000 on it. But you got to include the fees. Like here in Washington, there's a
Mhm.
10,000 there's a 10% fee to sell. That's just excise tax. That's not title, that's not realtors, that's not real estate firms. A 10% selling fee. And the problem is, no, I'm sorry. It's 1%, but on a $500,000 property, that's going to be $5,000. Okay,
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
so I count. So what I do is I account for about 10% fees when I get a contract. Okay, so let's say I get it for 450. I can't sell it below 500,000 without making I need to sell it at about 500,000 to make a dollar. I'll probably gonna make 5 or 10,000. Okay.
Mhm.
Now some of these deals, my Texas deal, it I got it on a contract 6 months ago.
Mhm.
But in the meantime, I wasn't like lifting boxes or anything. I was just waiting. So it actually had to go through probate. Probate can be a good deal because they're not like nostalgic about the house. They don't want, like, lots of people, they live there. They're like, oh, I've lived here with
Right.
my grandkids forever. But when they inherit the house, most of the time they already have a house. They live in another state. They just want to get rid of it. Give me some
Yeah.
money, you know? But probate took 6 months.
Wow. Okay.
So
All right.
I threw a lot of data at you so far. Do you have any questions?
Yeah, so you won't do anything on it until you have it under contract. So, and you have just said, get it under contract at whatever the seller wants, and then so then what happens
Okay.
after that? Like,
So,
so how
so
can you make a deal out of it? Let's say that, the house is worth 500, they want 500. How do you make a deal out of that?
well, I'm gonna ask, is that the lowest you're gonna go? And they're
Mhm.
gonna say, well, they're gonna hem and haw about it because they want the most money. So, um, I so if you have a buyer's list, you could send it out to your buyer's list and get an offer. But most people don't want to offer on a house that's way overpriced. They're not going to waste their time with it. There's too many houses out there. So,
Okay.
one, you need to learn how to do a market analysis. Do you know how to do that?
Well, I don't, let's just say no for the sake of this conversation.
Let's get back to that. You need to learn how to price houses. You need to learn how to price repairs. Okay. So, now, let's just talk about. So I got them in contract. That's the key. Get them in contract. They
Mhm.
need to okay. There's no point of negotiating with somebody you don't have a contract with, right? They're just going to
Yeah.
go and find somebody else that's going to make them a promise, okay?
Yeah.
So what you need to get them on a contract and they'll agree to a price, okay?
Right.
And then you're going to do your research and make sure that they own that house and that there's not six other people that own it, okay? There may be
That's an
six other
excellent
people
question.
that own it along with them. Okay, they may own it,
Uh-huh.
but you need everybody on that contract to sign off. Once everybody signs off, then you can start either dropping the price. You need to let them know, look, so you can put an inspection in there or whatever. But so these contracts, they're what's called a they're called. Um, So I'm sorry, I lose the word right now, but you can use the
Continue.
contract or you can throw it away. It's a piece of paper. We call it a napkin. Okay, it's a napkin until you decide to call it until somebody decides to call it a contract. Basically, until you decide to take it to title and actually somebody pay the money for it. Okay, it's a
Mhm.
napkin. It's a napkin. It's a napkin until somebody puts down some money. Okay, If they want $1 million earnest money, write it on the contract. It's not my problem. I'm not putting that money down. Okay. Now, a lot of people, they'll be like, oh, well, you didn't put down earnest money. You're not getting that money. They think they're getting the money. They think what they're doing is you're going to give them $5,000 till while it sits on the market. No, that's not how it works. You're not giving them
Right.
no earnest money. You're not.
Right.
I see people all the time. They're in these groups. I need a lender for my earnest money. Oh, that's the most dangerous thing you can do in the world. And I've done it. I put down $1,000 on a house that I didn't own, and that I didn't buy, and that I didn't wholesale. And I gave them the money, and that was really stupid. Don't do that. Okay.
Yeah.
You write whatever they want on the contract. You're not giving them any money, period. You throw away that napkin before you give them any money. Move on. Okay. Do not
Hmm.
give these people money unless you want to buy the house for yourself. But flipping houses is really the most dangerous thing you could ever do in your life. Um, and don't ever, I suggest you never flip a house. Never. I suggest you never get a hard money loan. I suggest you never actually purchase the house. Now, if you actually find a deal that's so good that you don't want to wholesale it,
Hmm.
you can do other things like creative financing and try to get them under. You're still wholesaling it. You can. I bought a house recently, and the guy was in foreclosure. I put it in my name. The loan was still in his name. We flipped it. I put about 20,000 into the house. He did the work. He's a contractor. So I put the 20,000 in. He fixed the house. We sold it in 90 days before the auction.
Oh, good. Okay.
He was in trouble. He stopped. His tenant hadn't been paying him in a long time. He didn't have the
Mhm.
money to keep paying it, and he was in foreclosure. And the bank, because it's an investment property, the bank said, "Sorry, we don't care."
Yeah.
So, um, if for some reason this meeting ends again, I'll just send you a new meeting again. Okay.
Okay.
Um, okay. I'm not sure how long Zoom is going to allow me to do this.
Oops.
Um,
You said that and then it froze. Okay, there you are.
yeah. So let me make. So yes, I I threw a lot of information on you. The number one thing is get in a contract. Don't pay the earnest money. Find a buyer. But if you have a deal, it's going to be so easy to find a buyer. You're going to be able to call a realtor, and they're going to have a buyer right now. They have buy. Every realtor has buyers that will actually buy. It's just what price, and it's funny that they teach all this stuff on YouTube. Oh, find those motivated sellers. Find a foreclosure today. There's no foreclosures. There's no motivated sellers in this market. You need to make your deal. Okay. Okay.
Mm.
So
Okay.
there's no the guy that I just dealt with that was in foreclosure. He still made $250,000 on the house. He
Wow.
hadn't paid it in years.
Nice.
The only people that are in foreclosure are the people that haven't paid in a very, very long time, and the bank still makes money because these houses have gone up in value so much. Okay,
Right. Right.
so you're going to get it in a contract. You're gonna get a great deal. If you don't get a great deal, then you're going to drop the prices. I've dropped the prices 10 times on a contract. You cross it out on the contract, you write your new price, the initial, you're in contract for the new price. Okay.
Okay. And so is it strictly a contingency? Is it like
See it, all
if
this
we
inspection
no?
and all that stuff. It's a napkin. It's a napkin until somebody buys it. Okay, so the they could possibly, it's possible that they could sue you, but it's not probable. And a wholesaler can't sue you for non-performance anyway, but a seller wouldn't ever want to sue you anyway. They would want to just sell it to somebody else.
Yeah.
Why do I need you to buy it? Just buy it, damn it. Like, who cares? Find somebody else. You just need to get to the right price, right?
Yeah.
So once you get to the right price, I'm going to tell you what I do because I want the most money for the house. I put it on the market.
Yeah.
Now, there's these people. The problem that I run into is that wholesalers lie to sellers, and they're like, "I'm buying this house. I'm the almighty. I'm buying it." We're gonna come in with cash, 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 cash. No contingencies. Airplane money. So they lie to these sellers, and they tell them that it's going to be in 10 days, and they're going to have to do nothing, and the truth is that that's possible, but it's not probable. Most of the time these people want pretty close to what the house sells for. And to be honest, as a realtor, my job is very much the same as a wholesaler. It's just that I'm governed by a higher power as a realtor and not so much as a wholesaler.
Yeah.
So you're going to have these people on there that say, well, don't be a realtor because the realtors, they hate wholesalers. And no, it's exactly the same job. I'm a wholesaler and a realtor. It's the same thing. Okay.
Okay.
So let me think here. So if you accidentally find a great deal, we can send it out to my buyers list. But again, I suggest that you get with me and we'll put it on the market and sell it for full price. Why do we want to sell it for half price when we can get it for full price, right? Again, I
Yeah.
don't care what the seller gets, but and the number one thing to me is get a contract and sell it. Don't worry about, oh, I want $50,000 only. I'm only going to wholesale if I get $50,000. I hear that every day, and I'm like you obviously never did a deal, because that's not how it works. Most of my deals, I'll be happy if I make $1,000 real quick and do nothing. I'm sitting in my bed right now. I'll be sitting in my bed when I do that contract. Okay. So,
Hmm.
um, $1,000 out the door, but 5 or 10 is really what I want. Okay.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. So how many markets are you operating in for wholesaling?
wherever the deals are, I don't care. Doesn't matter. There's
All
realtors
states.
everywhere.
Yeah, all
There's
states.
realtors everywhere. Now, I prefer major cities because you want somebody to want to buy it.
Yeah.
I sold a deal in Iowa recently, and you know, it,
There's a
it,
lot
it
of corn and beef in Iowa.
exactly. So, you want to stay in major metro. I like Florida and Texas because there's a lot of deals happening. And so, California is great because there's a lot of equity,
Mhm.
People tell you, oh, don't wholesale in New York, don't wholesale in California. Who cares? You're buying it for $1, you're selling it for two. Okay.
Right.
It
Yeah.
doesn't matter what the seller gets. It doesn't matter what the price is. People will buy $20 million properties. If I can get a $20 million property for 19 million, I'm in.
Yeah.
Now the problem is the selling costs on a $20 million property is probably like 4 million. So you better account for that, okay?
Yeah.
But if you got a buyer that's ready to go for 20 million on a $19 million property, go ahead,
Yeah. Yeah. So what is your uh, being brand new, if you had a clean slate, what's your step one? What is one, two, three? What are you doing
You
first?
need
What
to
are
get
you
on the phone. You need to get on the
doing?
phone and you start calling people. You need to get on PropStream, download a list, and start calling people. You need to get comfortable on the phone talking to sellers and negotiating, because that's the hardest part is negotiating. You don't even need now. Negotiation gets easier when you know the market, when you know what the houses are worth. It gets much easier, but you need to get on the phone and get yelled at a couple times before you actually understand how this thing works. Okay.
Yeah, and then so how many calls should I be making?
The more the better. You need to be doing probably 500 calls a day. You should get a dialer system that you upload your list, and it just starts calling, boom, 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 boom. Oh, they answered. Hey, do you want to sell your house? Now when you get on the phone, you're going to say, you're not gonna be like, where's Sarah? Sarah, are you Sarah? You sound like a bill collector. So you need to get on the phone and just say, do you want to sell your property? Just assume that they're the seller. If they're not the seller, they're gonna tell you. There's, oh well,
Yeah,
that's my husband's property, so talk to him. You know. So you don't want to sound like a bill collector when you get on the phone. So you need to just get straight. They want to get, they don't want, oh, how's your day? Oh, we're over here. It's raining. They don't want to hear. Just get to the point. Just get to the point. So,
I could do that.
okay.
Okay.
So
Uh-huh.
so you're just gonna get to the point. Do you want to sell your property at 123 Street? And they may say they have multiple properties. I've had people say that have sold me multiple properties over the years.
Oh,
And people's expectations are crazy, but just sign the contract on your first one, especially. Just you need to do some. I use Zillow. Okay, I use Zillow. See what the houses are listed for. See what they're selling for, and just do a quick market analysis. I'll send you some videos if you can you can you just mm, do you think you can message me on like Facebook or something? Um, mm, I'm trying
what's
to
the
I'm
best?
trying to think how to get a hold of you. What's the best method for you?
Um, Probably email because I look at that the
That's
most.
fine then. I'll send you a link in the email, and you can look at my free videos. Okay.
Yeah.
Um, so I'm starting a subscription service, um, and but I don't have it all set up right now. Yeah, the key is getting a deal, and you need to get comfortable on the phone. Now, I don't cold call all day. That's not what I do. But I'm very comfortable on the phone talking to people and negotiating because I'm very confident in my numbers. I'm very confident in what I have to say. And that's going to be
Mm,
your biggest issue at first, okay? If you
yeah.
can't get on the phone with people, even once you find that seller, they're not going to want to sell to you because you're not going to know enough to buy their property, okay? So
Yeah. So, yeah, so do you have scripts or things to say, so do you want to sell your property, 123 Main
I
Street?
do have a
Yes. Okay, great.
I'll send you
No.
my script. I'll send you my contracts. Okay. I'm glad you said that. Um,
Yeah,
and so um, I'll send you the scripts that you're going to want to get away from the script after
sure.
you get comfortable. But
Yeah.
you need the script at first
Just kind of a
to,
guideline.
just a
Yeah.
guideline, just to get started. I have a feeling this meeting is going to end in 5 minutes. Okay.
Okay,
Um,
no problem.
but anyway, I think we're getting close to the point that you need to just get started, okay?
Right.
Because a lot of these people, they spend all day watching YouTube, asking information, paying for courses, and they just never do it. That's the key to this
Yeah.
business is you need to get on the phone and get cussed out. I promise you. Okay. Batch
How
dialer.
many, so, out of 10 calls or out of 100 calls, how many people are cussing at you?
Most people they want to talk to you. They just want to, when people call me and try to buy my houses every day, and I'll be like, hey, just call me when you find a house. Uh, you know, I turn it around on them. Hey, call me. I'm a buyer.
Yeah.
So yes, it's not. Most people they just want to talk. They'll talk for hours. Don't waste your time. Okay.
Yeah, I've had that. I had a business, I had a FedEx delivery business too. And oh yeah, if you catch people at the wrong time they answer the door, you know, you're
Yeah.
okay, now you're stuck in a conversation.
Right. Right. But you know
I
what?
actually have another 100 stops today, so I gotta go.
But you know what? They're going to remember you if you give them 5 or 10 minutes.
Yeah, yeah,
And so you keep their information. Now the key is the follow up. I'm sure you've heard that, right? You need the people that answer the phone, you need to write them down. The people that have bad numbers, you need to get rid of those numbers. Organizing the list is a whole nother job. Okay. I have I've paid people to do it. So there's a million ways to do this. I have a woman in the Philippines that I pay $7 an hour to call people. I also pay her $7 an hour to organize stuff from me, and so we call them a virtual assistant. So she speaks very good English. Again, if they don't want to sell to her because she doesn't speak English, they're not. That's not your seller. Your seller. You want somebody that's like, all right, I'm ready to sell. I don't care what your voice sounds like.
right.
And so she sends out the contracts, she get it signed, and then I work on selling it. Okay.
Yeah. So at what stage, at what stage do you hand off that stuff? I mean, where is it that that becomes that where that makes sense?
What do you mean hand it
The
off?
like the cold like the cold calling and stuff. So
When
how
you're
long should I be cold calling, to get comfortable enough to be on the phone with the seller and then, okay, I've
batch
learned this well
batch
enough to
dialer,
do.
you
Uh-huh.
need to you should pay for batch dialer. It's going to get you through the node. You want to get through the nodes as fast as possible to get to the yeses, which is why I like text messaging because and emails. I just sent out. I send out about 5 emails every 5 minutes. Um, and my system does it automatically. I'm not staring at it or nothing. It can get expensive, so you need to watch your expenses. You need to be the administrator, not the person that works. But you need to learn how to do it first
Right.
before you do anything. Okay.
Right.
Um,
Right. So
so
you mentioned smarter contact it was for
yeah,
the
smarter contact. I love it, but it's expensive. So
okay.
I would get on PropStream. I would download a list. I would start calling. Batch dialer, okay? Get batch dialer, get it dialing, get on the phone. You need to get comfortable before you start spending money on this business, okay? This is why you paid me because you are going to spend a bunch of money on your business to get nothing. I'm going to tell you right now before this thing ends, do not get a contract off of the MLS. You're wasting your time. They're already asking full price. Who are you going to sell it to?
Right.
Do not let somebody, do not, uh, I do what's called JV, and that's joint venture. You're going to work with another wholesaler that has a contract. I always get their contract before I do anything. If I'm going to partner with somebody, I need to know that I'm going to get paid before I do anything. Okay. I need to make sure that they're allowed to even sell the house because if you start marketing somebody else's property, they can sue you
Yeah.
if you don't have paperwork. Okay. So you get
Yeah.
paperwork, you make sure that your name's on that paperwork, you make sure that it says how much you're going to get paid if you sell that contract. Okay.
Mhm. Mhm.
So, you, I'm sorry, what did you have, another, did I answer your question or
I think yes.
I
I
think you
think
need to
so
get on the
because
phone.
basically go get on the phone.
Go get on the phone and get comfortable. Don't spend a bunch of money before you spend a bunch of money. Get on the phone and get a contract, okay?
Okay.
Okay, and
All right.
once you start taking action, you're gonna have a bunch of questions. We can either do another call or something, okay?
Yeah. Yeah. That makes sense.
Okay. Did this work for you?
Yeah. I
Okay.
think it and
Okay,
I
I
look
appreciate it.
forward to seeing your yeah, the script thing, I think, just to have the guideline, I think would be fantastic.
Check out my reels on Facebook. I'll send you my TikTok and all that stuff. It should be in my email. All
Okay.
my information is in my email, my Facebook, my TikTok. I have 100,000 followers across the board. So I show my flips and other stuff on there. So yeah, have a good day, and I hope it
Okay.
works out for you.
All right.
Thank you.
Thanks. We'll talk soon.
Bye.